Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, where today, ship happens when besides, in the Russian Tier 10 cruiser, the Moskva here is going to be having a pretty miserable Tier 10 ranked experience. And it's mostly all going to be because of this guy, Harry Lam in the Schlieffen. Now things start off pretty well. There's no indication here that he is in fact a toxic twat with less right to live on God's clean earth than a virus. He in fact starts off by being fairly polite and respectful to the rest of his teammates, wishing everybody fair winds and following seas. However, by the end of this battle, and in the battles that follow, because we're going to be seeing him 3 times, Ship Happens had the massive misfortune to run into this guy 3 times in a row when playing ranked battles. But I think you'll all agree that by the end of this video, Harry Lam in the Schlieffen will have earned his place alongside toxic and inept twats like the infamous Schrader, he of the unfair plane he Kemp Bush meme in World of Tanks, if you can cast your memory back that far, and of course the equally toxic but not quite as infamous Angry Turtle here in World of Warships. I don't know if you remember me doing a feature on this Angry Turtle guy. I showcased his exploits in one video, and it was quite a hit, just not with Angry Turtle. Many of you would run into him in other World of Warships battles, where he was just as much of a dick when you guys were running into him as he was in the video that I featured. Except after I put the video up, he would insist that it didn't bother him while spending the entire battle in chat telling everybody that I was a child molester. That's right, didn't bother him at all. Yeah, anyway, this is the kind of company that we're talking about here. Schrader and Angry Turtle. Harry Lam, by the end of today's video, will be enshrined forever in that kind of hallowed company. And will also, you never know your luck, I'm just planting seeds here, you don't know where they're going to take root, a new meme will be born. Much like in World of Tanks, they say that the team with the most toxic French armoured clown cars is the one that is guaranteed to win. Here in World of Warships, based on all of the evidence that I've seen thus far, the team with Harry Lam on it is guaranteed to lose. So, we've got 3 battles to go through here. So the first 2 are going to be quite heavily edited, just in order to set the scene for the final showdown. Plus, these are ranked battles in the first place. There are only 6 ships per side, so they don't last that long anyway. So, Harry the Bastard and 3 other of Ship Happens' teammates are all doing their own thing off up to the north, which leaves Ship Happens and 1 other Schlieffen down here against the Des Moines, a Stalingrad, and a Thunderer. So, yeah, they're outnumbered, but they're not heavily outnumbered. The Thunderer's 18-inch guns could be a bit of a problem though, especially for the Schlieffen, who only has a 27mm bow. And if the Des Moines up there plays his cards right, he can catch them both in a very nasty crossfire, which is why Ship Happens is tucking in behind this island here, so he doesn't have to fight the Stalingrad, the Thunderer, and the Des Moines. The Schlieffen, however, appears to be going for it. And because, you know, he does his best to be a good teammate, Ship Happens decides he's going to back him up. He's going to go for it too. It's going to take him a while to get going though. I mean, he was reversing behind the island. He's gone back up to full throttle, but, well, the Moskva's a big ship. It takes it a while to start moving. The friendly Schlieffen is giving no shits. I mean, it's not necessarily the wisest course of action. You can see the hammering he's taken from the Thunderer's 18-inch guns, and he's probably not enjoying the attention he's receiving from the Stalingrad either. The only good news for the Schlieffen is that the Des Moines on his flank doesn't appear to be paying much attention and isn't hammering his flank with armor-piercing shells, but I'd be very surprised if that Schlieffen survives this encounter. Still, Ship Happens is committed to helping him out, and at least when they're all kicking the Schlieffen to death, they're not shooting at him, which he can take advantage of. Plus, if he moves forward here, he's not getting shot at by the Des Moines. And a Des Moines spam an HE will always kill a Moskva. The Moskva's HE DPM against an angled Des Moines is pathetic. Oh, I think we're about to lose the Schlieffen. Although, you know, he hasn't done that badly. The Thunderer is on its last legs. The Stalingrad isn't looking very clever either. He's got his torpedoes out. Ship Happens is working on finishing off the Thunderer first, obviously. Ironically, the Moskva is actually better as a cruiser at tanking the Thunderer's 18-inch shells than the Schlieffen as a battleship is. Anyway, little bit of help there from the Hindenburg across the map, finishes off the Thunderer. Ship Happens going for the Stalingrad's turrets there, trying to knock them out, and continuing to receive support from across the map from the Hindenburg there. And it's here where, if you have a look in chat, Harry the Bastard's true nature is starting to reveal itself. He just said, Smolensk reported. Don't know why, don't know what the Smolensk did to deserve being reported, or what it was that the Smolensk did not do to deserve being reported. As Ship Happens finishes off the Stalingrad, extinguishes the two fires, goes for a heel. It was the Des Moines, by the way, that sank Harry the Bastard. Don't know what it was that the Smolensk did. I mean, he's up there, he's on very low health. Presumably he fell back and refused to die with Harry. I don't honestly know. At this point, it's impossible to say. Maybe Harry reported him for a very good reason. Couldn't really say for sure. I mean, I'm not entirely sure why Harry feels the need to let everybody know that he's reported the Smolensk. I mean, generally, if somebody's done something worthy of being reported... Ooh, the Ohio's gone down, that's not good. But if somebody has done something worthy of being reported, you would tell everybody what it was and ask them to report him. But no, he's just letting everybody know that he's reported the Smolensk. Don't really see what the big deal is here, Jingles. I think you may be making a mountain out of a bit of a molehill. I mean, people get reported all the time. People report other people all the time. I'm not sure it actually does anything, and even if it did, it doesn't exactly put Harry the Bastard here in the same league as infamous douchebags like Schrader or Angry Turtle. Well, no, you're absolutely right, but Harry is just getting started. He's also now letting everybody know that he's reported the Hindenburg. Why? Don't know. I mean, it's entirely possible that the Hindenburg was committing some kind of grievous sin that only Harry was witness to. We will never know, but that's not really important, because the stream of invective that Harry launches into now, you people need to stop playing ranked, you're not good enough, is still probably not the worst thing you've ever seen in World of Warships. In fact, for many of you, I suspect it's probably not the worst thing you've seen today. But you're going to have to trust your Uncle Jingles here, because if that was all that Ship Happens had shown me, you wouldn't be watching this video because I wouldn't have made it. I mean, that's not exactly particularly nice behaviour, but it's also not exactly unusual in an online game. Oh, the Hindenburg's gone down. Ship Happens is the last one left alive on his team. Harry's using the limited time remaining to insist that everybody reports the Hindenburg, and even the Hindenburg's getting in on the act now, calling everybody a team of idiots. Ship Happens has been caught broadside to the Des Moines. Yeah, he's dead. And while that wasn't a particularly pleasant experience for Ship Happens, it was also not entirely unusual, and pales into insignificance compared to the kind of crap that you have to deal with on a daily basis if you're playing something like League of Legends, for example. So Ship Happens shrugged, chalked that one down to experience and queued up for another ranked battle, and then he saw a familiar face appear in the list of his teammates, and started to get that sinking feeling. But this time, Ship Happens is not the only member of the team who's had the misfortune of running into this toxic arsehole before. The Midway player, who goes by the name of Allied Armed Forces, recognises him too, and starts off in chat with, "So, Schlieffen, you want to do something this time?" Which may be unfair, but Harry the Bastard's reaction is somewhat extreme by anybody's standards. I mean, he starts off with the usual in chat, "Oh Jesus, not you again. Report the CV. He is useless, won't provide any air cover." And again, at this stage of the proceedings, I was entirely willing to give Harry the benefit of doubt. I mean, we don't know what his experience was with this aircraft carrier player in a previous battle. It may have been absolutely horrible, and the carrier player may deserve this level of shit. I don't know. Harry's reaction, however, let's just say he doesn't limit himself to slinging shit in chat. Harry the Bastard announces that he is not going to bother taking part in this battle. He's just going to sit at the back next to the carrier because, based on his experience, this carrier player only provides air cover for himself. And that, of course, is not all that Harry is going to be doing. He's going to be driving into the carrier, trying to push him around the map. If friendly fire hadn't been removed, I am positive he would be torpedoing and shooting him. And honestly, the rest of this match is just as dismal as an experience as you'd expect when you're on a team with only 6 players to begin with, and one of those 6 players is more concerned with griefing another one of your teammates than actually bothering to play. And if that was all that he was doing, I mean, that would be bad enough. But he's incapable of keeping his fat mouth shut while he's doing it, because he's just determined to make this battle as miserable an experience as possible for everybody, not just the carrier player, with whom he is particularly upset. He reports ship happens in the Moskva and tells them to go back to play in co-op. He reports the Shimakaze player for some bizarre reason, while demanding everybody shut up and take no further part in the argument that he started. Meanwhile, up to the northwest, the carrier is trying to provide air cover for the Shimakaze, which Harry the Bastard takes as evidence that he was right all along. See, no air cover. It seems that our Harry's grasp on reality is, how can I put this, slim at best. A suspicion that is only confirmed when the carrier's automatic combat air patrol fighters are activated, and Harry leaps on this as evidence that he was right. The carrier is only ever providing air cover for itself. I mean, technically he's not wrong, but it's not like the carrier player has any control over when automatic combat air patrol fighters get launched. He's in a tier 10 ship and he doesn't really seem to understand how this game works. Either that or he's hoping everybody else is too stupid to call him out on his bullshit, which is certainly possible. I mean, I'm reminded of the game that I was playing, this was years ago, shortly after the French tier 6 battleship the Dunkirk came out, and I'm playing the Dunkirk, which is a battleship and doesn't have torpedoes. This was back in the days of RTS carriers, that's how long ago this was, and there was a guy on my team in a destroyer off my port beam, and he wasn't paying attention to the incoming aircraft, and they torpedoed him. So he got torpedoed by aircraft, dropping torpedoes on his port side, and then he blamed me, the battleship that doesn't have any torpedoes, on his starboard side for not being careful where I launched my torpedoes, and then he launched his torpedoes into and sank me out of revenge. So, much like Harry the Bastard here, that guy didn't have a particularly strong grip on the reality of the situation. Anyway, thanks mostly to Harry's lack of effort, the enemy team reached 1,000 points, and that match is another loss. At this point, I think it's fairly safe to say that Ship Happens is starting to form a remarkably low opinion of Harry the Bastard. But hey, what are the chances of getting into the same battle with the same arsehole 3 times in a row? Oh, cool. Oh, wait, no. He's on the other team. Well, 2 thoughts immediately leap to mind here. The first, of course, is we may actually have some peace and quiet in team chat this time around. Although, to be completely fair, that's by no means guaranteed. It's not like Harry the Bastard is the only person around in World of Warships being a twat in chat, but at least with him on the other team, you're not guaranteed to have somebody being a cock goblet in team chat. Although, you're probably guaranteed that the enemy team is. And honestly, I so wish I could have been a fly on the wall during team chat on the enemy team during the course of this 3rd and final battle. The other thing that we're going to put to the test is the theory that the team with the most Harry the Bastards on it loses, because so far it's looking pretty convincing. We're 2 for 2, although I admit that is a small sample size, but hey, science. And if you were wondering if you were actually going to get to see an uninterrupted and unedited battle in today's video, then yeah, this is it. There are no distractions, and I have to admit I was amazed at how composed Ship Happens is in this battle, because there are multiple occasions, not at the start, but there will be multiple occasions when he had the opportunity to shoot at multiple targets, and one of those was Harry the Bastard. And he restrained himself from doing what I suspect most of us would have been frothing at the mouth in order to do after suffering through that twat's behaviour in the previous 2 battles. Anyway, more on that when it happens. So, once again, ranked battle, 3rd battle in a row, where Harry the Bastard is present, although this time he's on the enemy team. And he's not actually going to see him until later on in the match, because he's got his own problems down here. Beginning with, because he's about to get spotted, and since there's nothing else in visible range, and admittedly the Moskva's stealth isn't great, but when 5 of the 6 enemy ships have been spotted, 2 of the destroyers have been spotted up to the north, and you get spotted down here, yeah, there he is. That's where you know the Z-52 is. Now, he's got the high explosive preloaded. And high explosive is not a great choice on the Moskva, but it will do a shit ton of damage to a destroyer if you can land those shells. I mean, I say the high explosive isn't a great choice of ammo on the Moskva, and let's just put it this way. If you're forced to engage in a high explosive exchange with just about any other cruiser in the game, with 1 or 2 notable exceptions, and you're in a Moskva, you're going to lose. The Moskva's high explosive damage per minute is abysmally bad. I mean, it will deliver a large chunk of damage in one shot if you can hit something badly armoured like a destroyer or a British light cruiser, but generally speaking, the Moskva exists for one purpose and one purpose only, and it is not to be blatting high oh, really? Z-52, what are you doing? Didn't you see what happened the first time? You know, just because the radar expired didn't mean you weren't going to be seen when you poked out like that. Do you think he's launching torpedoes? I think he is. I think we know, because Moskva also has hydro. Here they come. So I managed to get 1 set of torpedoes away. And I don't know, but it looks like there's a very conveniently Moskva-shaped gap between those torpedoes there. The enemy team are already down 1 ship, and if that Z-52 is not careful, and the Petropavlovsk as well, and there's the Moskva-shaped gap between the torpedoes, they're about to be down another few. Yeah, the Petro's definitely done. Got him. Right. It's curious that, I mean, in this game, the one with Harry the Bastard on the other team, and the one where Ship Happens is pretty much forced to use high explosive most of the time, because he's shooting at either destroyers or heavily angled targets where the armour piercing would just bounce. It's surprising that this is the one that he wins. Although maybe not surprising, because Harry the Bastard is on the other team. And the rule that I'm trying to establish is the team with the most Harry the Bastards always loses. Because the thing about the Moskva is that it basically exists for one purpose and one purpose only. And that's to deliver large quantities of extremely high velocity and high penetration 220mm armour piercing shells to the target. That's where the Moskva excels. The Moskva gets the chance to hit you and penetrate with its armour piercing, you're going to be in a world of hurt. The high explosive? Not so much. I mean, he's only done 18,000 damage. Although he should do alright for experience, because a lot of that damage was against the Z-52. I've mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. You don't actually get rewarded with experience and credits in World of Warships for the amount of damage that you've done. I mean, you kind of do, but you also kind of don't. You get rewarded for the percentage of damage that you've done to an enemy ship's total health pool. So, for example, he was on 18,000 damage done after the Z-52 and the Petropavlovsk went down, which isn't a lot, but 18,000 is a lot of health for a tier 10 destroyer. Say, for example, the Russian Khabarovsk has, by default, 22,000 hit points. I mean, 18,000 damage is a lot of damage for a destroyer with 22,000 max to take. But 18,000 is relatively trivial to a battleship that has 100,000 hit points. So if you've done 18,000 damage to a battleship with 100,000 hit points, you will not get a lot of experience and credits for it. But if you've done 18,000 damage to a destroyer with 22,000 hit points, you will get a lot of experience and credits for that. See how it works? That's one of the reasons why it's almost always in your best interests, even if just for purely selfish reasons, that you should always, providing it's not going to hurt you to do so, shoot at destroyers and submarines whenever you get the chance. For 2 reasons. 1, they're easier to kill because they don't have a lot of armour and they don't have a huge amount of health. You don't have to do that much damage to them in order to kill them, and you get rewarded out of all proportion for the amount of actual damage that you've done to them, because it constitutes so much bigger a percentage of their overall health pool. And look, Ship Happens had an opportunity to shoot an Harry the Bastard there, but he didn't take it. He's not vindictive, although he no longer has an opportunity to shoot at him. He's managed to set a fire on... And, you know, he's using high explosive the entire game. I don't think he's loaded armor-piercing once, because he just hasn't really had the opportunity to make the armor-piercing work. Which is why he's only done 40,000 damage. Oh no, Harry is down. Oh, I wish I could see the enemy team chat right now. Oh, I'm betting it's glorious. Oh yeah. Sadly, we'll just have to leave that up to our imagination. But remember, this is the third game in a row that we've seen Harry, and he wasn't that bad until the end of the first game. He was an utter arse in the second game. You can only imagine what he must be like now. Oh, and the enemy team have now only just managed to get their first kill. So this is going to be a fairly convincing win for Ship Happens here. And you know what? Damn the small sample size. 3 battles is enough for me. I think we have categorically proved with science that the team with the most Harry the Bastards on it in World of Warships is the team that's going to lose. And on that completely scientific bombshell, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.